What's up? What's up, Niner faithful, 49er fans, red and gold family? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm sure that you're paying attention to all the recent news and headlines going on with the NFL free agency period. It's been rather exciting to some extent, I think, for the most part. And of course, let's let's kind of hope for the best with everything going on because at this point right now we still don't know the future of Jimmy Garoppolo. I see a lot of rumors. I see a lot of different reports out there. I don't know how factual they are. The latest one I see is that the 49ers are arranging to send him to the Indianapolis Colts, which would be the choice for Jimmy G, supposedly, according to this information, which in return would give them a second round draft pick, which I would be surprised and shocked at. But at the same time, everything and anything is possible. So let's just see what happens there. So moving forward, let's talk about this free agent period for our beloved 49ers. Well, I think there's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of goods and bad. I'm a very objective fan. I'm a very objective, loyal fan, and therefore I call it like I see it. I call bullshit when I see bullshit. I call a great move when I see a great move. That's just the way I do things. Coming into this upcoming draft in April, we all know what has transpired from last year, and that we were lacking in the first round. Now, obviously, it's going to be really hard to return to the first round because unless you're willing to trade something away to get back there or a player, it's not going to happen. So I don't expect that to happen. I expect to either get a second or a third round pick if they do, in fact, decide to move Jimmy Garoppolo. So that's one thing. Now, some good news, though, on the draft information. The 49ers were awarded some compensatory draft picks today, which is a great thing for us, of course. So those draft picks, of course, will be taking round 3, pick 102, round 3, pick 105, round 6, 220, round 6, pick 221, and round 7, pick 262. Personally, I always like a nice abundance of draft picks because you get to stockpile the talent if everything works out, and obviously utilize those players, and hopefully they turn into this grand little seed turns into a beautiful tree, and we go from there. And as you all know, in my opinion, I just think it's kind of factual. The best way to build a team on all levels is through the draft. And the more draft picks you have, the better it is. So that's a positive for us. We got a lot of draft picks. We're stockpiling them and getting better. So I like that. Of course, and again, 2 in round 3 is great. Okay. And you can never really go by the round itself or the pick because we've seen so many different players who've turned into studs who have been on the low end of the draft, and we've seen players who were supposed to be super duper come out higher up and never turned out. So don't always go by that. And everybody knows the Tom Brady and Joe Montana story. Don't always go by the status in the draft number because things can always change. So let's do the bad first. Let's just get that out of the way. Obviously, the latest news is they are not going to re-sign Contavious Street. Okay. You know, there's been a lot of people that kind of give me the same standard answer to things when I put the word out there and post as you can't keep everybody. Yeah, that's great. I understand that. That's life. Can't keep everyone. We all know that. But that's not really that's kind of a hackneyed um it's kind of just like, just a hackneyed term, man. You're not bringing anything new to the argument to an extent. And again, I think you're right, but that's it's not really it's not I don't know where we're going with that. Um, they won't be resigning Contavious Street, and obviously, if you guys were watching a lot this season, you would have seen that he had a pretty decent season, man. I really liked the way he looked. I liked the way he played. I think he was one of those players that kept getting better and better as his career went on. And I think he was great in the rotation for the defensive line this season. He showed up really, really, really well, man. He played his tail off, I thought. So, Yeah, they won't be bringing him back. He's only 25. He's very young, and it's disappointing because I just think that, again, if you're a 49 fan, obviously, and you know how important the defense was this season, and how great they played down the stretch. There was no defense like them. They got better and better as the season went on, and got better when it counted most, which was in the playoffs. Street, in his third season with us this year, had the best: 3 sacks, 27 tackles, 15 solo, 12 assisted, one forced fumble. Appeared in all 17 games, started 2 of them. Yeah, man, he was just getting better and better, getting better and better. So it sucks to lose him. Okay. I hate to see the defense lose lose key players. I really do. Um, he was coming off a 4-year, $3 million contract, so he hadn't been in that area of real hardcore numbers in terms of money, but that doesn't matter. Okay, I think he was a talent and he was worth saving. That's just me. Uh, they also lose DJ Jones, of course. Okay, which I think is an absolute blow to the defense. DJ Jones, again, I've said it before. I don't really have to repeat myself. Just kept getting better and better every season. I thought last year was by far his greatest season, as he showed how important he was to that defensive line. I mean, he really established himself as a threat on all levels. And it just made things so much better for everybody else around him. I mean, started all 17 games, 2 sacks, 56 tackles, which is a high, which is a great, amazing, unique number for a defensive tackle to have that many tackles. 40 of those solo, 2 forced fumbles. Okay, year before that, 2020, another standout year, 3 sacks, 20 tackles. The year before that, 2 sacks, 23 tackles. Guy's a monster, man. Very rare, I think, that you get a guy of his talent, the way he moves rather well, rather quickly for a defensive lineman. So obviously, they lose him to the Broncos, who are willing to pay him $30 million over 3 years. A lot of money, and it's well deserved. But I hate to lose him. I hate to lose him. And again, I'm going to say this on a team where the defense is the predominant. Well, I don't want to say the predominant, but one of the most important cogs. I just think it's rather strange that you get rid of, or you can't find a way to re-sign one of your key players. Now, what this does do is this puts a lot more pressure on Javon Kinlaw, former first-round draft pick, who we all know has not performed up to that status thus far. He missed most of the season last year with injury. The year before, he was so-so in his replacement of Brenston Butner, where he was drafted to replace. And again, I want to give the young man the benefit of the doubt. I still think, even in terms of build, physical build, he has to mold himself into a defensive lineman, because he's kind of in between, where he's got mass, but he still has some girth there. And sometimes when you combine the two, it's the perfect weapon. But we also have to see what's going to happen to him after his injury. That's always the case. We really have to see. And management seems to be pro him. So who knows? I don't know. Personally, I would have not gone with the DJ Jones move. I understand you couldn't re-sign Kentavious Street, okay, but again, I think that in this league, the better your defense, the better you're going to have a chance of being successful. That's just me. The defensive line takes 2 hits. No Jones, no Kentavious Street. We did re-sign Kevin Givens, which is good. I'm curious to know what's going to happen with Arden Key and Jordan Willis. Should be interesting to see what happens with those two gentlemen as as time goes on. I would like to think that they're going to re-sign them. I would like to see them come back. And again, I understand. Everybody obviously can't be welcome back because of money. It's a business. It's this, it's that. We were over the cap. But another good news is we restructured the cap. Niners restructured George Kittle and Arik Armstead's contracts and now have freed up $18.75 million, which is very interesting, which is a real positive, man. All right. Obviously, there's still a lot of free agent players that we have that had decisions to be made upon. Jason Verrey, Kawan Williams, Jeff Wilson, Russ Dwelly, Marcel Harris, Jaqueski Tartt, Tom Compton, Dante Johnson, Arden Key, Jordan Willis, Trent Sherfield, Trenton Cannon, Juwan Jennings, we re-signed, thank God. Okay, which is another smart move. I like him a lot. But going back to towards the negative, as we started with, the loss of Laken Tomlinson on the offensive line. He signed a monster contract with the New York Jets. It was well-deserved, obviously. And again, I'm going to say this. I just think you don't get rid of certain players who are so important. Now, to be fair, this is why you draft players. Okay? This is why you build and stockpile players on the roster to be behind to be behind others, and eventually that it's going to be that they're going to have to play. It's just the way it is. Aaron Banks comes to mind, Jalen Moore. Okay, so again, management is banking on one of those gentlemen, or the other gentleman that they have or may have coming up in being, replacements and being the starters. And I just think, again, offensive line, defensive line are just an area where they're so important, especially to an offense that is a run-first offense. Aaron Banks, second-round draft pick from Notre Dame. Yeah, he's going to be counted on to do a lot, and I really hope it works out for him. Same thing with Jalen Moore. Okay, so they drafted them, and obviously we're going to see a lot more of them. I think that is the plan. Again, what do I know? But being pragmatic, I would think that that's kind of the way it's going to go. But we lost two key players. Okay, those are the negatives so far. Another one of the negatives is that if you were going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, it's not, I want to say late in the game of free agency, but now we're kind of down to a limited number of teams. Now, of course, that is not all management's fault at all because things happen, things transpire, they can't get a deal done, what have you. We've seen over the last couple of days that the window has dwindled in teams to trade him to if that is the move. The Giants signed Tyrod Taylor to back up Daniel Jones, although I don't think New York Giants were a destination for Jimmy Garoppolo. Trying to think of the other teams. Teddy Bridgewater signed with the Dolphins. I don't think that was an area for Jimmy G either because he obviously wants to be a starter, I guess. I would think so. Washington, it didn't happen as they traded for Carson Wentz. However, Indianapolis, from which Carson Wentz came from, looks to be the team that one of the two teams. The other one being the New Orleans Saints, but there are a lot of rumors and news out there that Deshaun Watson could be headed there. So who knows? Who knows? But I just think that you freed up the money, the 18 mil, and now there's a very good chance that he may remain with us. I hope he does. That's just me, though. So those are the negatives. Questionable. Oren Burks. Questionable move. I don't understand that move at all. It's not a diss at Oren Burks. It's just I don't understand. Someone had said depth. Okay, I understand that. But, he did play all 17 games last year. Only started 3. Never started Never started much in his career. 0.5 sacks, 36 tackles. Going from this, he's obviously a backup. I don't see from his stats, and I could be wrong, him being a starter. I mean, it doesn't mean he can't be a starter, but just from what I'm reading, he doesn't have history of being a starter. So if he was just to sign as a backup, I understand. Now, another positive is that unless a team, you know, makes an offer for Aziz Al-Shahir, the 49ers gave him a second-round tender as a restricted free agent. So I believe he'll be back with us, of course, unless somebody offers him something better, and the Niners don't try and cover it. Also, too, that team, I believe, would have to be willing to send a second-round draft pick. So that's a good thing because he should be back with us. Aziz Al-Shahir played his ass off all season last year, and he deserves to start. So here's my thing. You bring in Oren Burks, you bring back Al-Shahir, okay? I'm kind of confused why you just didn't give the money from Burks back to Shahir. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know why. I mean, maybe, again, it's probably a safety move to kind of just in case, which 100% makes sense. You're trying to cover your back. But again, they didn't give Warren Burks a whole lot of money. It's a 2-year contract, $5 million. Still, though, I would have rather have locked up a good, young, solid talent like Al-Shahir, especially after the way he played last season. And hopefully this year, with no injuries, see him play full-time and teamed with Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, further solidifying that defense. But it's a positive move. More positives. Okay. They signed Jake Brendel to a 1-year extension. I like that kid a lot. I think he's got some upside to him. Okay. Bringing back Daniel Brunskill. We all know how important that is. All right. Another solid move. Another positive. And obviously, the which seems to be grabbing the most headlines is the move to sign Shavarius Ward, 3 years, $42 million contract away from the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, so I'm kind of in the middle of this. I'm just being devil's advocate, pragmatic. I'm being objective. Guy's definitely a talent. Definitely has experience. Super Bowl winner. Definitely could improve our defensive backfield. It's a lot of money. 3 years, $42 million. It's a lot of money. Okay. And obviously, there were a lot of other free agents, top corners out there. J.C. Jackson, and various others. So the price is obviously going to be high. It's just 3 years, $42 million. I don't know. Those numbers are a little, for my taste. I mean, think about what you're giving. It's $14 million a year. Okay. And again, he's only 25. So I kind of would have. I love the move. Don't get me wrong. I kind of would have liked to see. I mean, this is the way free agency is done these days with everything. But I think if they didn't go with that move, they could have used the money elsewhere and kind of brought back some of the guys that walked. Maybe you could have used that money towards Lake and Tomlinson. Maybe you could have used that money towards DJ Jones. We'll never know. But you definitely needed to sign a corner. That's for sure. So I'm that's on the I'm in the middle about that one. And obviously, like I said before, they signed Kevin Givens, JaMychal Hasty, Maurice Hurst, Colton McKivitz, Nate Sudfeld, and Demetrius Flanagan Fowles. Definitely like JaMychal Hasty. Maurice Hurst, we didn't see anything from. He was injured all season. Colton McKivitz, I thought, has some upside too. I like him. Not a fan of Nate Sudfeld. Don't understand why you're not bringing in a veteran quarterback to work with Trey Lance to back him up. Now, to shoot it over to another area, which I've already done a show about. Yeah, you do have Brian Greasy now as your new quarterback coach, who was an ex-veteran, was an ex-starter. So yeah, that could help. But also too, I think you need to have the camaraderie of having a veteran quarterback on the roster. Nate Sudfeld is not the guy. Obviously, too, God forbid, if whoever we have, whether it's Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, of course that would change things if Garoppolo comes back. But if it's just Trey Lance and he goes down, you can hand the keys to the kingdom over to Nate Sudfeld. Don't feel comfortable about that one. That's just my opinion, not a diss at Sudfeld. Just telling you how I feel. Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles filled in admirably over the seasons. I like him. We've seen him play special teams. We've seen him fill in at linebacker. He's solid, man. I like him. Smart to bring him back. I like when they bring back guys who have experience with the team. I really do. I think that's key, especially depending on the camaraderie they have with the team who's had a lot of luck on the defensive side of the ball. You already know what's at stake. They're all familiar with D'Amico Ryans, obviously his system by now, and you want everything to gel. You want everything to fit. So those are the moves so far. Okay, that's where we're at. We're awaiting more news. Obviously with the Jimmy Garoppolo situation, and as I sit here doing this, I see some other news breaking free along with the NFL. The Raiders have released Carl Nassib, defensive lineman. We also, there's a lot of other moves that are happening as well around the league. The Jaguars have just been spending left and right, man. You saw that. They're throwing crazy money at players, man, which is a trip. But they needed the help in certain areas. They obviously are looking to improve, especially after the season they had last year. A lot of news all around. New York Jets spending some money. Re-sign kicker Eddie Pinheiro. They re-signed Dan Feeney. Okay. The Giants, like I said, signed Tyrod Taylor. The Jets also signed DJ Reed away from the Seattle Seahawks. It looks like Baker Mayfield could be possibly finished in Cleveland, especially with the letter he wrote last night. So there's a lot of interesting buzz all over the place, man. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It really is. I'm wondering at this point who else we're gonna nail down. Who else are we going to sign? What else do we need? Well, okay, yeah, we kind of took care of the corner problem, that's for sure. Now the other one, obviously, the other side going to be Ambry Thomas. Could be that offensive line. We got Brunskill back, you got Brendel back, you got McKivitz back, you got Aaron Banks and Jalen Moore. So it looks like we're somewhat solidified there. Hopefully those moves will all work out. Defensive line is where I'm worried about most, because no more is DJ Jones, no more is Contavious Street. We obviously brought back Kevin Givens. Don't know the future of Jordan Willis. Don't know the future of Arden Key. Again, putting a lot on the fact that Javon Kinlaw comes back and plays at a high level. Along with Armstead and Bosa. The linebacker situation seems to be solidified. So I'm also curious to know what's going to happen with running back. Let's face it. We're in a good position here. Sermon, Mitchell, Hasty. Hopefully they, we'll see what they're going to do with Mostert, see what they're going to be with Jeff Wilson. They may not do anything with either one of them and just draft another running back. Other corner, Jason Verrey. That's going to be interesting. I'm going to say don't bring him back at this point. Although you may be able to get him on a very, fair deal, but the injuries. It's the injuries. Personally, I bring back Kawan Williams. I love that guy. That guy is exactly what we need. We need a hitting, no bullshit corner. I like the way he plays. And he's a veteran. He's 30 years old. He's been around. He could help these young guys. Deodola Moore. He could help Ambry Thomas. Even Shavarius Ward, man. He's older than him. Curious to know what happens with Ross Dwelly. curious to know what happens with Jaworski Tart and Tom Compton and Dante Johnson as well. So we still got some things we got to take care of, man. I don't see us making any more big moves in terms of Shavarius Ward. I think what you're going to see now is either something's going to happen with Jimmy G. You may see some other small signings. And obviously, we're going to focus more on the draft. I think that would be the best way to go. So I think we're in a decent place. I want to be positive about it and be optimistic, but be objective and be pragmatic about it. I love Lynch. I love Shanny, but I'm always going to call it like I feel, just my opinion. So, Lynchy has some moves to make. I think he's doing some positive stuff, getting some more draft picks. And that being said, let's look at what's coming up for us in terms of the draft, man. Obviously, we acquired some draft picks with the Mike McDaniel move to the Dolphins. We're looking at we got the second round pick at 61, 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, 2 in the sixth, 1 in the seventh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it's looking pretty good. I really do. And just double checking my information here. Yeah, 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, 3 in the sixth, 1 in the seventh. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks. Hey, look, it's not too bad, man. I would like to see them get a few more, tell you the truth. I would love to see them get a few more draft picks. I'm of the mind you can never have too many, man. You really can't have too many. Worst comes to worst, the guy doesn't work out, he doesn't make it in training camp, or he works out. Hopefully. And in drafts, man, you can never tell. I don't care what the experts say. I don't care what Mel Kiper says. No expert has ever been 100% right about anything. So don't go by that. But I like the move so far. Now, obviously, the biggest one is what's going to happen with Jimmy G. That's where everything is focused. And again, there's reports all over the place and rumors. I don't go by any of that. I'm just curious to understand what's going to happen there. And see what the future holds. Because at this point, with the money freed up, why can't you keep him? Why wouldn't you hold on to him? Even if you wanted to start Trey Lance. Man, get rid of Nate Sudfeld and keep Jimmy G. Now the money is a thing. I mean, are you going to pay him? Is he going to, is he going to really be paying that much money to be a backup? I don't know. That's going to go against, the whole keeping him thing. Because it is a business at the end of the day. But it should be interesting to see what happens. We can only hope for the best. All right. Niner Nation. You've been hanging with the Niner Nut. And do me a favor, please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you, by the way. Please hit me up any way you can on Instagram, Facebook. Message me. Let me know your opinion. I love the conversation, man. Be well.